So, good morning, everyone in Europe, and good evening in Hong Kong. We are here gathered to discuss one of the hottest topics nowadays, that is the travel trends. So, let me introduce myself, if I can also show my face. Let's see if it's possible. Okay, great. Okay, here we go. So I'm Elena. I'm the founder of Here Fashion Hub. We are the organizer of this webinar. We are passionate about fashion, accessories, and travel. So we thought to gather all these valuable guests to have a brainstorming think tank together on such a key topic that will really influence our lives so much in the future. So we have with us today Nicola Guerini and Luca Fortuna on behalf of the Milano Fashion Institute from Milano. So Caroline Gross is the founder and CEO of Schmarzer. It's a fashion tech company, a very interesting startup. And Andrea Bonardi, managing partner of Textile Advisors, expert of distribution in Asia and also involved in travel goods items distribution. And Diego Recchia, who is a very experienced travel goods designer. So without any further ado, because the time is always too little, and we have a lot to discuss, a lot of questions to ask our guests to dive deep. So we are all looking forward to take on the next traveling challenges. So let's take a moment to reflect together on how that will feel like. So how will we travel in the near future? What new needs will travel gears and accessories address after the pandemic disruption? What features will become unmissable? This is what we are meditating on, and we'll share opinions very soon. How will we satisfy the craving for safety and sustainability while restarting to travel the world, sometimes contrasting needs? Come join our think tank right now. So we will then introduce the guests gradually once we have questions for them. So the first question is to Andrea, who I'm not sure
Good
joined
morning,
already.
good afternoon. Yes,
Andrea is here, okay,
yeah,
very good.
Sorry, yeah, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Elena.
Thank you for your time, guys. I know it's not easy to be available even online. So Andrea, also if you want to quickly introduce yourself and then tell us, in your view, how deep and how quick will the travel goods industry rebound after the pandemic disruption?
Thank you, Elena. Yes, thank you very much to everybody. My name is Andrea. I'm managing partner of Textile Advisors that since 2013 helps brands develop their retail presence in Asia. This expertise comes from a long period spent at La Perla in the early 2000s in Asia to develop the retail network of a brand from scratch across the Asia-Pacific market. But as you said, I don't want to waste our time on this. Let me go back to your questions. Well, the rebound will be happening very soon, very fast. Just for your information, peers from the hospitality industry are already seeing, and I mean suppliers to hotels and hospitality, but even hotels themselves, they are already seeing a surge in the business. We see it more or less everywhere, in the US a lot, but even in China, in some, of course, in mainland China, where the market is large enough to and there is enough population to afford a great traveling business. We know because hotels, and what does it mean? This rebound is not only in terms of quantity, but is very qualitative. People will travel better and maybe less, but they will travel better. This is already reflected in the, for instance, in the in the fact that hotels are upgrading their facilities. They took advantage of COVID to mostly refurbish their hotels, but also upgrade their facilities for the customers, from the bed linens to the cutlery or other services, because they understand that customers will be requiring a better experience. Therefore, from our experience with FPM, which is a very interesting luggage brand from Milan, we see that we are developing, despite of the COVID, very strong distribution agreements across Asia, just because the markets are craving for a return to a quality traveling, to a luxury traveling. So it will be happening very fast. Some people say already at the end of this year, some say in the first quarter of next year, depending on how the COVID situation will develop.
Thank you. Very insightful indeed. I know it's hard to be concise on such things.
Yes, it is.
And so I would proceed to the next question that is more about product and services. So I would ask Diego to maybe quickly introduce himself and then give his insight. Then we will also ask Luca Fortuna his opinion about this one. So will the product itself, or rather the sales experience, in your opinion, go through the more prominent transformation?
Well, the sales experience has already begun to transform before the pandemic, in my opinion. So since a long time, with the technology innovation, with the neuromarketing, so it's just the crazy stuff that is happening about digital transformation. So the sales, that it's going to be, of course, more digital than ever, and the pandemic and the restriction has just, let's say, accelerate this process of a different way of purchasing products by clients. So since we were forced at home, the pandemic has forced this digital transformation. So the industry of software, technology, hardware, media has increased their sales during the pandemic exponentially. And other players that makes the mere product, physical product, they were with the less sales, of course. People were forced to stay at home, working, studying, playing from home. So of course, the product itself, if we think to a physical product, it's gonna be for sure in a very big transformation, because the people are changed, because the needs of the people are changed, the behavior of the people have changed, the thinking also. So people are more willing to spend more money for sustainable product instead of buying just another product that makes the same things of the old one. So I think the product and the product itself, or rather the sales experience, both are changing, and let's say the product itself needs to have a better story to tell, needs to have a different way, or better way to do the things that we used to do in the past. If we want to be pessimistic, the travel goods and the products itself in the exact spots of the travel good industry are not going to bounce back at its old glory in 2 years, 3 years. I just think the company has to shift their attention to that slightly different kind of product. People are traveling, the hospitality is going up, the care about the people, the linen and the cutlery, it's everything about safety and care for the client, a more, let's say, closure space, private space for the travel. I don't think the travel as we know with trolleys and stuff like this will be back in a short or mid-term. The product needs to change.
Okay, thank you for now. Maybe you want to quickly also introduce yourself before we...
Yeah, sure.
A couple of words.
I'm an industrial designer as a background, but I gained a lot of experience working with travel brands. The first one was Tucano, an Italian brand. Then I spent a lot of time and years in Samsonite as a design manager. working on a different field of product, from mere travel trolleys and suitcases to more outdoorish product, more business product. So I gain a lot of experience in Samsonite with a different field and typology of product. After Samsonite, I'm now working as a freelance, let's say. I run my own business and my own studio, working still with several brands that makes travel accessories and backpacks and clothing more to the accessories way.
Yeah,
and that's all.
Creative. Okay, we will get back to you anyway very soon. I will ask the same question to Luca Fortuna, and then the next question is also for him. So Luca, how about this one? So what do you think? Sales experience and product comparison.
First of all, good morning, and thank you for asking me to be here. In my opinion, we are in a period of time when we are forced to rethink about who we are, what we are doing, what we are learning, what we are missing, and of course, what we want. And we know that travel transforms people as not traveling transform itself. So basically the same. If you travel, you are a new one. If you don't travel, you become something a little bit different. So there is a huge importance in this, as we know that it's not possible to understand the ocean, for example, or to understand a forest or to understand the desert, just sitting in front of your computer or just through a social media. So we need to go into the world. We need to explore the world. And this is the value of the experience. So this can be referred just to the product and to the service. And this is a period of time in which company, they need to rethink about the value of the experience, how to offer to their customer a better experience, overall better experience. It means to rethink the starting point, the execution, and then we can say the checking out experience. And this is the same in a physical store, in an online store, in an hotel, in a spa, in a salon, anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I guess this question is the ideal introduction to the next one. So we continue with Luca for a moment. That is more about revenge traveling. That is a very specific phenomenon everyone is talking about. So what do you think about the expectations that are around revenge traveling, along with the consequent spending in different sectors? So setting themselves too high among the market key players. Otherwise, there are specific opportunities of a strategic evolution that are not being fully and timely caught by such key players.
My point of view is a point of view of my experience. I work in the wellness industry. So I design spa, I design cosmetics product and things like this. So I'm talking about this sector of the industry. And my answer is yes and no. Yes, if we are able to rethink about this kind of experience. So if you are able to provide something new, and this can be done for a new company or for an existing one. So I think it's exactly the same. No, if we think that everything will magically be back exactly as was before. So there is a huge need of changing, and whoever understands this at first, doesn't matter if you are in the industry from 20 years or 40 years, or if you are a newcomer in the industry. If you just understand this, you can expect to have a success in your business. But if you just think that anything will be back exactly in 2018, 19, or in that kind of period of time, I guess you will be disappointed. As in these 2 years, people, they save a lot of money in order to invest this money in a new experience. So the expectations are really, really high. But when you go into the real world, you are going to be disappointed if you find something that is not as similar as your expectation. So the company needs to focus on this, need to, I guess, capitalize all the information that we learned during this pandemic and try to understand what we are looking for right now.
Thank you. Thank you. We will keep connecting the dots. The next one is back to Diego. Then we will have time again for Andrea and Caroline, that is more on the tech side. We have more for her later. But Diego, since this one is about products and kind of companies that have better chances in this circumstance, I'm particularly keen on knowing your feedback on this one. What do you think? Will established brands, so huge companies, or rather the fresh, ambitious startups, getting the best chances to adapt to the new needs and properly read between the lines of the ongoing epochal changes?
Well, I think both has the same potential. Both has some pros and some cons on their back. For sure, the first, the established brand, they have the advantages of an heritage from their side, the experience of a big company, the structure of a big company that could help the process, the minds inside that can think about new things in the near future. The second, from their hands, the startups, they have the fastness, the smoothness in the process that the big company normally don't have. They also have the recklessness, if I may say, to jump into something that is completely unexpected and new, and I mean, not ready for the time, but actually it's ready for 3 months, because now the changes that we are seeing are really so fast. So the smoothness in the process, I think, could help the startups. It's also true that we are seeing nowadays a lot of startups, a lot of brands that are growing, are emerging from somewhere, and the percentage of failure, from what I read, it's higher than ever, because actually if you jump into a market where established brand already has their market, their products, etc., and you jump in it's the same for a big company. If you jump in with the same product that we are doing since years, they don't have the power to go ahead. Of course, the startups, they don't have the strength in communication and pushing out a product that big company has with a brand behind. I'm thinking about Samsung, for example. If I think to some startups where I'm working with, it's difficult to push the same quality of product for startups instead of let's say, the established brand. The fast process compared of a startup compared to the established brands that always, I mean, sometimes and often is stuck into bureaucracy, can stop let's say, going ahead of a nice product. Of course, we have to sell, I mean, both have the same potential, but basically both have the same potential. They have to just introduce something that communicate better, that makes a thing different. Otherwise, they will not have the power to stay in such crowded marketplace.
Yeah, maybe the smallest ones must invent something that goes viral organically, so that they don't have to spend big dollars in communication campaigns.
Yeah, but it also, in this case, it depends from the quality of the product, not the quantity. The things that the product will sell.
Yeah.
And if it becomes viral when it's something different from the other things. If it's viral just for the geek or for the game that it's behind, it will end very fast.
Okay, thank you. I think your viewpoint was valuable, because you have been working for the biggest travel goods maker and also the tiniest startups, for that matter. And the next one, for sure, it's to Andrea, if he's still online.
Yes, of course. Okay. I'm always here.
Yes. I think he's the king to answer this one, because it's about the comparison between Europe and Asia. Just sharing some keywords about the different landscapes about retail strategies. So how would you describe them? How would you differentiate?
It's a big question, Elena, because Asia certainly is much more advanced in terms of retail than Europe. More advanced meaning more dynamic, more innovative as to the strategies that you need to adopt in the market. If I need to select 3 keywords in Asia, is retail, and for retail I mean online and offline, branding, marketing, and innovation. Innovation because consumers keep changing, young generations are becoming a big share of the market, and they are very digital and very dynamic in terms of their tastes and preferences. Marketing because it's all about being visible and online, and retail because branding comes through retail, and through retail only you can push, as our colleague said before, you can push your product, you can push your innovation, you can show who you are and how good you are.
And that was Asia, right? How about Europe?
Yeah, but Europe traditionally is more stable. In Europe, I would go more for quality because Europe. I mean, even in Asia now, people are getting more and more attention to quality, but I would say that the brand comes first. I mean, if you are a brand, you can do whatever. In Europe, this is not always true. In Europe, I would focus on quality and exclusivity.
Okay, then I would be happy even with just one keyword about Europe. I like quality too.
Yes.
And so
quality and exclusivity. Quality exclusivity for
yes,
Europe would
exclusivity.
be
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good couple. And anyway, the next one is also for you. That was born from a nice conversation we had in the past. Also, the border between business and leisure travel. This is a wonderful direction of development for our lifestyles. I really believe. So the question is, as the border between business and leisure travel is blurring, what consumer habits do you see changing the fastest, and consequently, what product or service would you bet to succeed?
I think everything, the process already started before the COVID. Now it's fast moving, fast forwarding. I would say in every aspect of the traveling, from the hotel itself, how the public areas of hotels are organized, structured, how the rooms are furnished, which is not anymore the, I would say, without offending anybody, the Hilton hotel kind of, hotel that you would find a few years ago, whereby you were happy to go to an hotel that you see everywhere in the world because you feel like going back to your home, and hotels were designed to be all alike so that you would feel comfortable finding always the same spaces, the same colors wherever you would go. Now it's completely opposite. You want to have a very unique experience, an experience where you can merge travel, business and leisure. And this is and where spaces and everything has to change according to that. Secondly, I would say everything, the accessories that you use for traveling, even the luggage itself will change, because more and more you will travel with little luggage because I think people want to go light. They don't want to travel with large luggages, and your little luggage, suitcase or trolley, needs to contain the computer, the PC, and also maybe something for your gym or for your swimming or for your yoga. The way business travelers are now, the way they travel, business travelers, is not only to work but also to enjoy their lifestyle, especially after 2 years of COVID, where they learned at home to do yoga, to do gym, to do exercise, and so on. So luggage shall change. It's difficult to improve, but I think Diego and Andrea, Luca will be much better equipped than me to say so. It's very difficult, in my opinion, to innovate a piece of luggage like a chair. After all, it's a piece of luggage, it's functional. You cannot make anything more than, or much more than, what has been done. But it would be good to explore how the luggage can really become more multi-purpose and be relevant to both business and leisure. This is, in my opinion, the view. Also, the way of flying, everything, airports will need to change more likely in the future. Everything needs to change to cater to a traveler that is
Could you come closer again? Anyway, your point was.
Yeah, I think that even airports will need to change. I mean, everything from the moment you get out of your home to the time you check in hotel.
Thanks, Andrea. Yeah, actually, we are now discussing any kind of traveling tool in a way, not necessarily like a piece of luggage. So we can even think, okay, we will rent locally what we will not be able to carry or whatever. So I guess now very quickly, I will also ask Luca the same question, and then Caroline, so she can introduce herself, and then we go to the more tech digital matters. So just
my opinion, there is no difference between leisure and business travel, especially in the future. I guess that we have three, magic words we can refer to the future of traveling. The magic word for me will be silence, peace, and wellness. Silence, as we all need to stop the pollution, to stop too much noise, too much voices. And so people will look for this. The place, it doesn't matter if it will be a train, a car, an airplane, an airport, an hotel room. But silence is becoming really, really important. In the Wellness Institute, we are creating a so-called silent retreat, so place in which you can go in order to step back from any kind of noise. Then the second magic word for me is space, as we need to understand that our mind is connected to our surrounding. So if you change your surrounding, you are changing your mind setting. So you are learning something new, and this is linked with happiness. And so we are we will travel in some place, we will see the possibility to improve our happiness. And then wellness, as we all need wellness. And
wow.
Not just as an experience, you can say 1 time a year or 2 times a year, but every single day. So I guess the people will look for this. It doesn't matter if the main reason of your travel is a small vacation, is leisure, is business, but you are looking exactly for the same things.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, the contemplation space or room we need for detaching from.
If you look at something, if you touch at something, if you are in an hotel room in which you are able to have a good sleep, to feel a good air, and to connect with people, it doesn't matter the reason, if it's business or leisure, but basically you are looking for your happiness. At the end of the day, when you are closing your eyes and going to bed, the final balance is, I am happy, yes or no?
Yeah, I so much agree. And we could start a new webinar just from this point. This is a good keyword to introduce Caroline after happiness. Maybe this one that is very like philosophical and general. What do you think, Caroline, after maybe introducing yourself on this? I think you are on mute still.
Sorry, I had background noise. Hi, I'm Caroline. So I started a company called Smartza, which does video and live stream shopping for brands in primarily like fashion, luxury, and beauty sectors. And to come back to the question, so I think, similar to what's been discussed so far, I think, the past year has very much changed the mindset of, splitting business and leisure. And I think a lot of people are, the remote work thing, I think, is here to stay. And any sort of products and services that do enable this, to enable people from working from anywhere, from, video calling to Slacks and all these kinds of digital tools that enable this to happen, not from an office, will definitely be the ones that will be here to stay, to enable people to have a happier life wherever they want to.
Yeah. Well, thanks for your also conciseness. We love it. And the next one, get prepared. It's for you, the next couple of questions, because you have the most specialized background in, well, tech and digital facts phenomenon. So in your opinion, what are e-commerce and digital marketing numbers being impacted by the current unprecedented changes in the travel habits of global consumers, and considering during lockdown there was almost no travel at all, and soon there will be a slow-paced restart?
Yes, indeed. So yeah, obviously all these lockdowns and things had quite a significant impact on the growth of e-commerce. So if you look at between like 2019 even to 2020, the global share went from 16% to 19% in the space of e-com. And then there's certain markets like China, for example, where this number is now 25%. And then there's also been quite interesting sort of changes in certain markets where, Middle East, for example, where there virtually was no e-commerce before here. Before last year, everything was built super quickly, and now suddenly these markets are just growing at exponential rates in terms of e-com. And even now, when, the malls and stores are opening, interestingly, the e-com is not, the growth isn't going at the same pace up, but it's staying where it was. Will retail picks up as well. So it does look like it has created a permanent shift up in terms of e-commerce. And then also, looking at growth in cross-border e-commerce as well. There's been quite significant numbers there because obviously people can't travel. And then also growth in markets where people would normally travel out from to buy, like from the Middle East, from China, etc., probably contributing to more growth in those markets. And then, other trends in like social commerce space, like for example, shopping on like through TikTok went up 500% in the past year, which is actually 3 times more than Instagram. As much as a lot of brands focus is on Instagram, there are other emerging platforms where we are seeing this kind of thing as well.
Okay, cool. Well, this is also like numbers and facts are maybe the most important point to focus on. So I would listen to you forever on this, but we will go a little bit philosophical again. If you like to, I would say, create a bit around this question. So how can a travel experience, real or fantasized, be linked to a purchase experience, online or offline, and vice versa, or even drive a purchase decision?
So I guess my answer is more from the sort of retail angle here, from what we have seen. But I think, the big challenge that did happen was, companies spending so much money on having these beautiful retail experiences, etc., and trying to find different ways of how can they connect with their consumers, even if they cannot come to the store, even if they cannot travel into your country. So there's been quite a lot of growth in various like online video shopping formats. So for example, live events from stores, direct clienteling is something that has really taken off. So there's like companies like Hero, for example, that enables store associates to talk directly with customers online and kind of really bridging that gap. And then also last year we saw quite a lot of these like virtual showrooms and things where, it's almost like a Google Maps where you can go and explore the stores digitally and kind of be transported into that experience, as well as then creating different 360 VR things as well, which are, I guess, more kind of another level, even beyond that, in trying to mimic the experience of going somewhere in digital format. So there's been experimenting in these areas, and I think some of them will stay.
Okay, thank you. And I will also ask Diego whether he has a different viewpoint on this, maybe also linked to what we see in the travel influencer profiles, or like how can the travel experience even virtually drive a purchase decision, if you have a different input for it.
No, I think the company needs to, since the people are not traveling like the 21st century travel, so with borders, visa, 3 time zone, they are traveling more closely, even in terms of distance and even in terms of coziness. Maybe the company should sell the real essence of the travel, so the curiosity, the exposure to newness, the wonder, so that it's not a destination, it's just a perspective. And of course, they will need some containers to do this movement here and there. But mainly, we have to sell the concept of the process, the destination, not just the perspective, the process, not the destination. I'm going there. I'm traveling to discover something new. I'm traveling to be wonder.
So experience, not by chance, is the the word that is repeated twice in this slide. So the next one, and we are towards the end. I think we are also running out of time. This is to Caroline and maybe Andrea later for his last intervention.
Okay.
So this is a more technical one, or if you have any insights of what digital marketing tools you think will benefit the most from the current reset of traveling experience and purchase experience. So what's your own forecast about marketing tools? What will grow, what will maybe not grow?
So I think the ones that are the most scalable and where we are seeing incredibly steep growth in now markets outside of China as well is video, like live shopping, whereby companies can then kind of bring that experience to customers. And it's really interesting to now see how that sort of format, originally growing hugely in China, is now being adapted in other markets in slightly different ways, but really giving consumers that window experience into their stores directly, and using store associates and people that work in their businesses in a completely new way. And then actually there's another, I guess, an industry that traditionally has been very travel dependent, which is the whole like fashion buying system, whereby, you know, buyers would travel into all these cities for fashion week to look at their collections and place their orders, etc. That entire industry, you know, even from our collaborations with the British Fashion Council, has forced to become digital. That all of these buying processes and everything can have to happen through virtual showrooms. And it really does look like that is a trend that will definitely stay in a very strong way, in addition to like some physical will return. But I think from a functional perspective, that is a really interesting one that isn't like super obvious to everyone, but is a very important founding block of that whole industry. Yeah,
true, very true. And I would conclude in a way asking you and then Andrea this other also quite technical question, but more about some brands observation. So since you are a privileged observer of fashion online sales evolution, do you notice, this is what we are curious to know, any relevant trend around travel goods to be specifically pushed by fashion brands recently that weren't specializing in travel goods before? So since anyway, you know the fashion brands from an online sales viewpoint. So do you see any trend about they push that after the force, the halt?
I think
I will ask Caroline and then
Caroline. Yes.
The only thing that we have kind of seen interesting has been a lot of kind of cross collaborations between brands. So for example, like look at Rimowa, Off-White, these sort of different industries getting together to co-promote certain things, and both still kind of producing what is their expertise, but doing it together. So I think that's quite interesting because it kind of ties in with a lot of other things where suddenly like brands, you know, running restaurants and cafes, and there's a lot of sort of cross-industry approach. But yeah, that's from my side.
Okay, cross-industry approach. Okay, cool. And Andrea also was about
yeah, I mean, I fully agree with Caroline. I think the world of the consumers, especially luxury consumers goods, is all merging into a one single lifestyle experience whereby Rimowa collaborates with Off-White or Dior or Moncler, and furniture brands collaborate with fashion brands, and food brands collaborate with you know, Chiara Ferragni, the mineral water. I mean, there is a complete now cross-contamination that is making it, I would say, compulsory for any brand to enter this field. We are talking we are finalizing a distribution agreement in Korea for FPM. Of course, FPM is, for instance, segmenting itself, profiling itself as a kind of competitor to Remova, and the benchmark is Remova, and Remova, as Caroline said, is doing only this. Again, it depends also on the category. Certainly, a luggage cannot be changed too much. As we said before, a trolley, after all, is a trolley, will always be a trolley. You need to find ways to keep selling the same trolley in a different fashion. So that's the reason also for this. So I would say, yes, I totally agree with Caroline.
Yeah, thank you. And well, this was the last one direct question, but if Luca or Diego have other insights or comments they still want to share, we still have a minute, and then we can walk to the question Q&A session if there are any from the audience. But if you have anything to add on any of the questions because you felt it was for you, feel free.
Not exactly on this one, as this is not my field, but I guess that we can say I travel, therefore I am. So through the positive psychology, we learn that people basically as four motivation in order to take a travel. Number one is to look in something new. Number two is relationship and fun. Then we have self-improvement, and then relax and escape. So basically, I guess that all the companies can take advantage of this. If you understand this four motivation, you can design a travel experience physically or online, and you can also refer this to any kind of product or service. Just understanding the motivation of the people, and then you can create something good for them.
Thank you, Luca, for your immense keywords. Like it's all big ones, like relationship, fun. I mean, yeah, that's the real humanistic focus for the future of humanity. I'm a bit surprised no one of you didn't really push sustainability, but maybe because I think we give this for granted now. So it's like a way of being that everything has to be sustainable, and that's it.
Yeah, people are more conscious in general, not just about sustainability, about everything. People are caring much more from themselves, for the environment, for the people.
Yeah, because traveling also has a big impact on the carbon thing.
I think people are choosing the road trip instead of the intercontinental flights.
Yeah. So just a final note to match the circle. Okay, so I will just thank you, the Sample Room APLF organization, just showing a couple of slides about their platform that is allowing us to be here. Anyone from the audience can create their own accounts to explore, and it's all about product creation and options for product development and the designers on this environment. And this is just the last input. It's our design competition from our platform that was just finalized yesterday. So we got the winners, and if you are curious about what the new generation thinks about Pack to the Future, so the new generation travel gears, you can just look it up in our LinkedIn profile, and we are screening and giving the awards these days. And for anyone from the audience also wanting to continue the discussion with any of the panelists, they were so kind to share their contact details. So yeah, that's all. We must speed it up, and maybe Javier from the organizers can advise whether there are any questions. I can't really see the chat right now.
Hi, Elena.
Hi.
We received some questions, but due to the time limit, we will send you all the questions, and you will answer them all in private.
Oh, okay. so we're already running out of time. Sorry.
So thank you very much for joining this webinar, and I will see you next time.
Okay, guys. Then it was my pleasure, and thanks so much for your availability. I know it's not easy to be there always online. So bye-bye and safe trips.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah,
Thank
bye-bye.
you.
Bye.